So you're shopping online, you're scrolling, maybe you're looking for that one brand of coffee you love or some special part for your car. You find it, you click add to cart, and then that little message pops up, that dreaded notification, out of stock. But it's not over, because right away, the site suggests a replacement. Sometimes it's a perfect swap, maybe a competitor. Other times, it's the store's own brand. And, most of the time, you probably just click accept and move on. You need something, right?
The exact moment, that split-second negotiation between what you really wanted and what an algorithm thinks is a good enough settlement, that is what we're diving into today. We're looking at the science of second best and exploring the huge multi-billion-dollar world of substitute products.
And it is so much more than just a small annoyance when you're shopping. What our sources show is this incredibly sophisticated and frankly ferocious battle for market share, for efficiency, for your loyalty. And it's all driven by hard economic principles, consumer psychology, aggressive retail strategies, and some really cutting-edge tech. So our mission today is to walk you through all of it. We're going to start with the basic economics that make substitutes, inevitable. Then we'll get into the absolute chaos of online shopping that leads to substitutions so bad you get, and this is a real example, dog treats instead of steak.
Yes, that actually happened.
And finally, we'll pull back the curtain on the hidden tech, like Google's shopping graph with its 35 billion products that makes all these complex swaps happen in real time. Okay, let's start at the beginning, the fundamentals.
Right, so to get the core concept down, a substitute product is simply a good or a service that you use in place of another one to satisfy the same basic need. But its real function is, it's fundamental to a healthy market. Substitutes keep prices competitive, and just as importantly, they keep quality high.
Right, so if one company has a total monopoly, a good substitute is what provides that market pressure. It stops them from getting lazy or from jacking up prices or letting quality slip.
Precisely. And the way we actually measure that pressure is with a concept called positive cross-price elasticity of demand.
Okay, that sounds a little academic.
It does, but it's really the core metric. It's just a way of measuring how the demand for, let's say, product B changes when the price of product A goes up.
And it's positive, which means if product A's price increases, demand for product B, the substitute, it goes up too.
Exactly. The classic case is always Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They are so similar that if Coke raises its prices by a certain amount, a predictable number of people will just switch to Pepsi. That relationship forces them to constantly watch what the other is doing with pricing.
That makes perfect sense for products that are almost identical. But our sources break this down into two different types of substitutes, which I think gives a much better picture of how competition really works. So first you have what are called direct substitutes, sometimes called near substitutes. These are the obvious ones we just talked about. Highly comparable, easy to swap. You're talking iPhone versus a Samsung Galaxy Note, or one brand of all-purpose flour versus another.
Right. And with those, any price change has a really big and immediate impact on what people choose because they're functionally the same thing. But then you get the second category, which is honestly more interesting, the indirect substitutes.
The veiled rivals. I like that term.
It's a good one, because these products come from sectors that seem totally unrelated, but they're still satisfying the same underlying need for the consumer.
Can you give us an example of that? How far apart can these rivals be?
Oh, they can be pretty far apart. So think about the need for a cold sweet treat. Ice cream versus frozen yogurt, that's a direct substitution. But what if a donut shop is out of donuts and a customer just grabs a banana instead? The banana is now an indirect substitute for that need for a quick, portable bit of sugar and energy.
Or the entertainment example. Bowling gets too expensive, so you stay home and play video games instead.
Exactly. The need is evening entertainment, not specifically bowling.
So even though these have a lower cross-elasticity, a price change in bowling doesn't cause a massive, immediate rush to buy video games. Marketers still have to pay attention to them.
Absolutely, because they are always chipping away at that share of wallet based on utility. And it's not just price that pushes people to substitute. Price is the big one, of course, but you also have supply issues, that out-of-stock problem, or a decline in product quality, or even just convenience and location.
Which brings us perfectly to the modern retail headache. We've got the economics down, but when you take this whole process online, the neat economic rules get thrown into logistical chaos. And that's where we have to talk about online grocery.
This is where substitution becomes, forced and incredibly frustrating when you order groceries online, you might place that order hours or even days before someone actually picks it from the shelf. And in that time, the thing you ordered can easily go out of stock.
That's the post-purchase out of stock, the PPOS event. And the sources say this is one of the top 3 biggest complaints about online shopping.
It makes sense. The decision is being made for you after you've already checked out, so the retailer is in a tough spot. To keep things moving, to get your order out the door on time, they often have to just pick the substitute themselves.
And that's where things go so wrong. The dissatisfaction rate is, it's staggering. Something like 30 to 45% of shoppers say they were frustrated with the sub they got. The examples our sources found are they're genuinely wild. They show a total failure of logic, whether it's from a human picker or a basic algorithm. We're talking about things like someone receiving beef dog treats instead of beef steak.
The gap in utility there is enormous.
It's unbelievable. Or a shopper ordered tortilla wraps and got sanitary towels.
Oh, wow.
One person ordered drinking water and received micellar water, which is a facial cleanser.
You can't drink that.
And my personal favorite, maybe the most dramatic change of dinner plans ever. A shopper orders a pizza and gets a bunch of bananas instead. How do you even make that mistake?
It really speaks to the pressure and the lack of good systems in those specific cases. It proves that just picking whatever is closest on the shelf is a terrible strategy. Retailers had to get smarter.
So they did. And this is where the research gets really interesting because it pinpoints what makes a customer accept a substitute versus reject it.
There are 2 crucial psychological factors. The first one is pretty obvious: familiarity. You are far more likely to accept a substitute if it's a product or a brand you've bought before, or at least one you recognize.
Okay, that tracks. Trust what you know. But the second factor is much more specific, and I think it's the real key. It's about matching the dominant attribute similarity.
That's the breakthrough. Researchers figured out that a good substitution depends on identifying the single most important trait of a product, and that trait changes depending on the category. And these categories fall into 2 big groups: vertical differentiation and horizontal differentiation.
Okay, let's break that down. Vertical differentiation, VD. That sounds like products where there's a clear better or worse.
That's exactly it. It applies to goods ranked by objective quality or performance. Think ketchup, margarine, maybe some electronics. In these categories, the most important thing to the consumer is quality, and the signal for quality is almost always the brand.
So if I order, say, the premium brand of ketchup and it's out, I'd rather get the number 2 national brand as a substitute than the generic store brand.
Exactly. You're prioritizing that brand signal over the price because you associate brand with performance.
Okay, so then what's horizontal differentiation?
Horizontal, or HD, is for products that are differentiated by subjective taste. Things like flavor or variety. So we're talking crisps, cereals, different kinds of pizza. In these cases, the dominant attribute you have to match is the flavor.
So if I order a specific brand of BBQ flavored crisps and that brand is gone, I would much rather have the store's own brand of BBQ crisps than a premium national brand of, say, salt and vinegar.
Precisely. The flavor is more important to you than the brand name. And this strategy really, really works. The data shows that when retailers follow these rules-matching brand for BD products and flavor for HD products, the average substitution acceptance rate jumps from about 66% for random picks to a very reliable 75%.
75%, that's a 9-point jump. When you scale that across the entire global grocery industry, that's billions in protected revenue.
Yeah.
It's the difference between substitution being a disaster and a workable solution.
And that financial angle brings us right to the retail battleground. This is where the substitute isn't just a backup plan, it's an aggressive central part of the whole business strategy.
Especially for private labels. The store brands, they're basically designed from the ground up to be the number 1 substitute for the national brand.
And you can see their dominance. Look at a store like Aldi. Their private labels make up over 77% of their sales. Trader Joe's almost 60%. And then you have Walmart, which owns 4 of the top 5 private label brands in the country. Great value, quaint.
And we're seeing that grow, right? Because of things like inflation. The sources show that as costs go up, that old stigma about generic brands it's dissolving, even for higher income shoppers.
That is a huge trend. We're now seeing nearly 40% of middle and high-income shoppers buying private labels just to save money. They are actively substituting their old favorites.
So to fight back, the big retailers have to get incredibly specific. Look at a company like Albertsons. The rolling out a strategy they call micro-market merchandising.
This is a huge shift. Instead of having the same layout, the same planogram in every store, they're tailoring the product mix in their 2,200 stores to fit the unique needs of that specific local community.
So a store in a neighborhood with a lot of, home bakers will have a totally different baking aisle than a store a few miles away in a different kind of neighborhood.
It's about localizing the entire set of options, and it's how smaller independent grocers can compete. They stock hyper-local products or specialty items that the big chains with their national contracts just can't carry. They offer something that has no substitute at the big box store.
Speaking of aggressive strategies, our sources mention this almost comical idea of forced substitution. It was framed as the understudy principle.
It's a brilliantly audacious idea. So imagine you're the second best brand. You know you're the number one substitute for the market leader. Instead of marketing your own product, you spend your entire marketing aggressively promoting your competitor's first.
Wait, so you're running ads for your rival? Why on earth would you do that?
The goal is to create a massive, overwhelming stock out of their product. You drive up demand so much that their supply chain just can't keep up. So when the customer gets to the store, physically or online, the number one product is gone, and your product is the only thing left on the shelf. You manufacture scarcity to become the inevitable choice.
That is next-level corporate warfare. But it highlights how sophisticated this all has to be. Whether it's an aggressive tactic or just a normal stock out, you need some serious technology to manage it.
Oh, absolutely. To hit that 75% acceptance rate consistently, you need real-time inventory data, you need advanced forecasting algorithms, and you need a deep understanding of how products relate to each other.
Which brings us to the engine running in the background of all of this.
Yeah.
Google's shopping graph. This is the tech that tries to make sense of the chaos.
The scale is what's just mind-boggling. The shopping graph is Google's ML-powered real-time database of the world's shopping data. It holds over 35 billion global product listings.
45 billion. That number is just... It's hard to even comprehend. Why does it need to be that big?
Because of how specific we've become in our searches. You don't just search for a coat anymore. You might search for a women's red cropped shiny puffer coat, size medium, that's good for extreme weather, is on sale, and has free shipping. A simple keyword search can't handle that.
Right. There are subjective things like shiny, functional needs like extreme weather, and logistics like on sale.
So the shopping graph uses machine learning to pull all of that together. It looks at images to understand cropped and shiny. It analyzes reviews and videos to figure out if it's good in extreme weather. It doesn't just find you a coat, it finds you the perfect match, or, crucially for our conversation, the closest possible functional substitute across all those different criteria.
And that tech powers features like Shop the Look, or those buying guides that help you compare complex products.
Well, exactly. And for the retailers, it's about building a more resilient supply chain. Good substitution tech lets them prevent back orders, protect their revenue, and just use the stock they have more efficiently.
It's all moving toward full automation, isn't it? The dream is that the AI can instantly message you when something's out of stock and give you 3 perfect, pre-vetted options.
That's the goal, to eliminate the risk of ever getting dog treats instead of steak again.
So that brings our deep dive to a close. We went all the way from the simple theory of Coke versus Pepsi to the real-world frustration of online grocery, and then we peeked inside the massive tech engine that powers it all.
And that core tension is always there. Substitution is an absolute necessity for retailers to survive, but if it's done poorly, it's a huge point of customer frustration. The difference really is that blend of psychology and logistics, matching the right attribute, brand, or flavor, and leaning on what you know a customer has bought before.
So, as you go about your day, think about the idea of a necessary substitute. We mentioned Morton salt substitute, which is totally sodium-free. It's not a choice based on cost. It's a health-driven substitution prescribed by a doctor. If substitution is truly inevitable in our complex world, think about your own shopping habits. What's the product you buy every week? The one you think is your absolute first pick? Is it possible it's really just the most successful, well-marketed substitute for something you wanted or needed, or maybe couldn't afford years ago? Next time you're shopping, think about what would happen if that product suddenly went out of stock tomorrow. What would you do?